probably my third video on this YouTube channel. And I thought it was about time that I showed you around my small allotment. It measures 10 metres by 7 metres, around about 50 to 70 square metres, which is not quite a whole plot. As you can see around some of the other plots are full-size plots, but this one is supposedly half a plot, but I think it's just a little bit more than half a plot. So I'll give you a little tour around the allotment. At this top end of the allotment, we've got 3 types of rhubarb. There's 2 within the wooden frame there, and then this one here is a later one. Those are 2 earlier ones. There we have a gooseberry bush, an eating apple tree, and a cooking apple tree. The site is just over half a normal local authority plot, so it measures 10 metres by 7 metres, and I've got paths running down the centre and across from side to side. This bed here, we've got strawberries, which are just looking a little bit sort of tired, but I'm sure they will buck up soon. And with the strawberries there is tulips. In this first bed here underneath the net, I've got garlic, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 6 no-dig beds running down this left-hand side. So I've got garlic, I've got spring cabbage, and the rest have just been cleared, ready for new crops this year. Back onto this side, after the apples, we've got raspberries, several rows of raspberries, and then we've got leeks, which I'm in the process of harvesting. Some chard, which is looking a little bit sorry for itself because that's just come through winter. And then near at this end we've got 2 Victoria plum trees. Again, they've taken a few years to sort of get going, but last year was our best year from them. Again, on this little bit of the bed along here, we've got gladioli, and then we've got dahlias running through there, and I can see loads and loads of marigold seeds. So again, back to this spring cabbage, and then 1, 2. Yesterday I raised this bed because I want to put a couple of rows of potatoes in there. Then at the back end, the industrial end, I've got a couple of water butts, and I've got a couple of compost bins. The one on the left I put horse manure in, and the one on the right is just general compost. A couple of bags of compost there, and another 2 little no-dig beds along here, which I tend to put herbs and things like that in. So again, another view from this end, a nice view of the wheelbarrow, and there we go. 12 no-dig beds. Again, with the no-dig bed philosophy, I'd been toying with the idea for quite a few years. I'd regularly put cardboard down over the weeds and covered it with horse manure and spent compost and all that sort of thing. But last year I decided to go the whole way, and as you can see, as well as the paving paths running through the centre and across the sides of the plot, I've also raised the level of the bed. When I took this allotment over about 6 years ago, it was very low, and my first year was actually flooded over by where the wheelbarrow is and the 2 Victoria plum trees. That was 2 feet underwater, bearing in mind that the soil levels were probably 8 to 10 inches lower than they are now. And over the years I've just made sure that I've got plenty of compost, horse manure, a couple of tons of sharp sand. I hate to think how much soil and things I've actually put in here, and I've now got the plot just as I would like it. The beds are big enough, the paths are set, and they don't deviate, they don't move at all. So back up to this top end, I'll just come in a little bit closer and show you the tulips. The tulips are all coming up in between the strawberries. Again, that seems to work quite well, and there's quite a few forget-me-nots along there. I'll take a few of those out. I don't mind one or two, but I don't want tons of them. And I've also got a small shed, which everybody needs a small shed, a wheelbarrow, and a couple of other bits and bobs. So we've had so many storms lately and so much rain. Not quite as much rain as some other parts of the country, so I do apologise. I don't mean to belittle anybody's. We certainly don't get flooded on a regular basis like some other parts of the country do. So anyway, for Dorset, we've had a lot of rain, and as you can see, the plot to one side, and the other part of the other plot, as you can see from the pictures, that was flooded yesterday. There's probably 2 or 3 inches of water there, and a couple of inches of water on that one. So that's what this site used to look like on a regular basis until I ordered it out and then started to raise the levels with soil, topsoil, manure. So now, when I'm working between the beds, I can quite easily manage without walking on the beds too much. Each bed is probably, I mean, it's not exact, but it's about 70 to 90 centimeters wide, and the paths are about 50 to 70 wide, and the paths are set. The paths won't move. Before I did this no dig beds, my paths used to move around a little bit like my neighbour's allotment over there. You know, depending on what he's planting and what he's got going, depends on where his paths are, and they're all muddy paths. One of the advantages I find with this method is that no matter how wet it is, and it's certainly been wet over the last few weeks, you can still access the site. You can still get on the site. It's a little bit soft, but you can still get on and you can still work. And you don't need, well, I don't need to actually walk on any of the beds, and I don't give them too much digging or forking, just a little gentle fork earlier on, as you saw in the first part of this video, where I was just tidying up one of the beds, and in particular just tidying up the spring cabbage bed. I've just taken off 1 or 2 of the lower leaves because they've just got a little bit sort of nibbled, and just taken out 1 or 2 of the surface weeds. But I find this method certainly works really well for me now. Bobs. So that's my plot, and that's my plot in the middle of February.